Oh, World of Warcraft. Such an interesting game with a lot of history. A lot of history. And I'm not even just talking in-game lore, I mean like real life history. This game holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts. Like, not even just everyday people, but there are celebrities or even like some of your favorite superstars might even have played the game at one point or play the game even still, one way or another. But my only question is, where have the times gone? Or have they gone anywhere really? Because it's such a interesting topic is because like the retail version of the game, a lot of people may not agree with, but then you have different versions of the game now. You know, you don't have just like the regular version of WoW, you have WoW, WoW Classic, like regular Classic era, WoW Cataclysm Classic currently, WoW Hardcore Classic, and WoW SOD Classic, or Season of Discovery. You know what I mean? There's so many different things, and it's hard to gauge on how the game itself overall is actually doing just based off of numbers and alone because those subs could be all on different games, like different versions of WoW, right? And so whenever people bring up like the sub number argument, it usually goes through the like out the window once you realize, oh man, all this is taken from all the games. But at one point, there were not multiple versions of the games. As you can see here, you can see live like on this chart from Blizzard on when they released like first released Classic, right? This would be like their second version of the game coming out basically at that time. And so that was huge, right? It had a lot of people coming back. It was actually even bigger than Legion's launch, as a matter of fact. But when you compare Legion to everything else, and you realize, oh shit, Legion was a standalone expansion. It was its own thing, right? You didn't have multiple versions of the game to gauge on. Neither did you. Neither for Battle of Azeroth, right? Battle for Azeroth had a little surge, but it wasn't. It didn't nearly peak as much as Legion did. It was like kind of close, but not really, right? But a lot. Something that fell in common with both of these expansions is they both have this like random drop. But I guess that's like almost every expansion so far, except for right now Dragonflight. But maybe that's just because we're in the middle of it, right? But like every other one just goes, you know what I mean? It's just, what the heck? Like, what's going on here? But I think what surprised me the most was just how bad it got after Shadowlands, man. Like, it was so bad. Like, this was just peak content drought right here. Me personally, I grew up with the game, so I already played this version, this version, and this version of the game. Coincidentally enough, I had quit WoW temporarily at a time in my life, like when Cataclysm was out. So I never really got to fully experience Cataclysm. And so that came out, and at some point, I somehow got back on Cataclysm. And I gotta say, man, so much better of an experience than retail for one, like current version of retail, and that's saying a lot, right? Because Cataclysm was it was a widely criticized expansion. Um, I would say over criticized because I think it was pretty decent, pretty good for what it was. I just think that there was not a lot of content for it, to be honest. Like, at least compared to other expansions. And then the War Within is just not interesting. Not one bit. Like, if you want to talk about expansion evolution, then let's talk about cinematics real quick. Explain to me how we went from this
blessed to be in your presence once more, Zira.
Turalian, you have found the chosen one. Illidan, from birth, the light in your eyes held such promise for the future.
I sacrificed that birthright long ago.
Do you not wish to reclaim what was lost? To be whole again?
The Legion's end is all I seek.
My child, you've given so much for so little.
Ooh, that's just an
Your
insult.
true potential, your redemption, lies before you. Let go of your shattered form and embrace the light's power.
I've traded my freedom for power before.
The prophecy
The cinematic still gives me
must be
goosebumps.
fulfilled. Your old life has passed. The light will forge you a new one.
It is not yours to take.
The light will heal your scars.
My
Scars.
The light is your destiny.
My destiny is my own!
Now watch the rest of this too. This is funny.
You've doomed us all, betrayer! Your faith has blinded you. There can be no chosen one. Only we can save ourselves.
We went from that to this. Like, what's even going on here? It's like she's ugly, so what? She looks interesting. She looks cool. Dude, not even her armor is cool. It's just a earthen dwarf dragging on a chain. And now the elf lady's dancing. I mean, obviously, he wasn't just pulling on a chain to pull on a chain, he was forging something, right? You see this whole operation unfolding? That's what this is. Cinematic really is. This is an operation. It's a ritual. This is a preparation for a fight. The potion part might be the... No, this is the coolest part right here. This is the coolest part of the cinematic right here. Is when they just show them the whole Nerubian city. But that's like, okay, I'll let it play. See, like, they should show more of that other face, but, you know what I mean, but how do we go from that to this? Or here, let me show you, another one, just so you have an example. By the way, this was only made 9 years ago.
Drink, Hellstream. Claim your destiny. You will all be conquerors. And what, Gul'dan, must we give in return? Everything. Reject this gift. And did you bring these mongrels here? Just to watch you die?
Yeah, dude.
This was not our destiny. Times change. We will never be slaves! But we will be conquerors.
See what I mean? How did we go from this? Hold on, wait. What's like the worst frame? Okay. How do we go from this shit to this? Like pushing an iron star. or seeing the Lich King for the first time, right? Like it just doesn't even compare. And then like, you know, you've got some really good points here. Like let's say I think right here talks makes it valid.
But he was more of a selfless bitch. And then
Oh yeah, dude, freaking. Not even just like WoW, but like video games in general, I've just lost masculinity over the years. And that's not even like cap. That's not even, you know, that's not even delusional to think that games have lost that masculinity over the years. Whatever whatever games that had masculinity, at least, you know, like they were few and far between, but still. Nowadays, it's all about like being a furry, being, you know, being gay, or playing a cozy game, you know, just relaxing. But there's not enough war, dude. World of Warcraft is losing its war. I think that's his problem. Too much friendship, not enough war. It's not World of Friendcraft. It's World of Warcraft for a reason. And then like you know, it doesn't help that Blizzard's writing team isn't the best either. Obviously, we've seen over the last like half a decade or so with the last couple of expansions, they've done pretty terrible, to say the least. Jailer was bad. Rathian that turned into a bitch. Alexstrasza got nerfed. The dragons are stupid. They're not even real dragons. They're just shape-shifting dragons who have like more or less mortal forms. So they're basically mortals, but for some reason in places of power. At least that's how the storyline goes. And like, dude, it's just this whole video right here. It's a very solid piece. I definitely check it out. He's basically going like watching the Bellular video, right? But Bellular makes some pretty good takes.
the path of glory. Yeah, no pussies allowed.
To show that, like, World of
True.
Warcraft, when it's set on another planet with, you know, the Fel and all these things happening, it can still feel badass too. That's like the point. It's like, we want WoW to make us feel like that, not WoW to be what it's basically delivering us right now. So that's one of the big things. Cool stuff just doesn't happen, and it's not told by gameplay. I mean, even take Wrath.
That is actually a pretty solid thing to point out. There's not a lot of like cool or extraordinarily awesome things that happen in the game anymore. You know, it's not like you're getting your heirlooms, or not your, sorry, your artifacts. Your artifacts, sorry. In Legion, when you got your artifacts, dude, that shit was phenomenal. That was the best shit in the world. Being able to unlock that, going for different appearances, going for the hidden ones, going for the Mage Tower whenever that came out, man, that was so difficult. That was so fun, though. It's so awesome, dude. It was peak content. Peak content. Peak content. And honestly, I I I'm thinking that it will be good enough for me to play again, assuming that they keep releasing classic versions of the game onward and forward, right? Like they're gonna do MOP, they're gonna do WOD, and what comes after WOD? Legion. We're basically 3 expansions away on the classic version, if you come to think about it, just to get through. So to push through Cataclysm first, boys. It's gonna be probably half a decade before. No, it'll be a little bit more than that. It'll be like maybe 6 years before Legion Classic comes out, probably. 2030 shit, dude. Yeah, basically.
Of the Lich King, the whole situation leading up to the Wrathgate in terms of quest design.
Oh, dude, speaking of the Lich King, dude, man, Bolvar is not the greatest, man. Not anymore. He used to be a G, and now he's the bitch king.
For why the Heart of Azeroth wasn't really liked by players. As in, I've talked to people who were in the presentation where that was said top down, this is why it didn't work.
I think the systems for both the heart and the artifact, they had their flaws, sure, but there were a lot more flaws in the heart. At least in terms of like how it was implemented in the expansion, because they made it connected to everything. Like you had to wear it like no matter what, and then I mean that was already the case with artifacts, but then like you had this like borrowed power that you just kept that you could instantly just keep grinding and grinding and grinding endlessly, and then the power actually does matter, so you have to have a certain amount for some of your gear to work, right? And like the Azerite gear system as a whole was terrible. Hated it. It was dog shit. So bad. So bad. They could have done so many more things with it. They could have just not done it in the first place. It would have been fine. But you know, they guess they thought that revamping the artifact system twice in a row was a good idea. Well, look at that, man. They lost a lot of subs in like the middle and early on in BFA because of that. Like BFA when it first came out, it was huge. I remember the launch very specifically. It was very very big. Not as big as Legion, but it was pretty big. And you know there were a lot of people on there. But I also watched a lot of these people fall off the game. I watched a lot of people quit. You know what I mean? It's a not a very fun time for a lot of people, especially because PvP had already become quite questionable in terms of balance at this time in the game. For one, like PvP just hasn't been like a thing, and I guess I just happen to know a lot of PvPers, right? And so a lot of people are very uh, how I put it, they're very dissatisfied with the game. They're very, I don't know. It's like they tune out whenever they start playing the game because they realize how bad the PvP balance is. But here's the thing. It's an MMORPG, it's World of Warcraft. PvP has never been the main focus of the game. I know it's a black pill for a lot of people to swallow, but I promise you that's exactly what the case is. Alright. PvP has never been the main focus of the game and never will be. It will always be PvE centric, right? It will always balance like their classes and everything about like that around PvE. And so that's why PvP content will just kind of just fall on, you know, like wherever those lines align, you know what I mean? Like they do balance for PvP on a separate line, separate basis, but it's not nearly as much as they balance PvE. And you know, and I know this because I've quite literally seen the amount of patches that they've done on the Mists of Pandaria remix versus the amount of patches that they've done in a single Mythic Plus season. It's around the exact same. Except, oh, I feel like there's more. No, I think that there's more in this remix now because the remix has gone on for so long, and they actually implemented like, you know, exploit fixes or whatever, things like that for the remix. You know, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the frogs exploit people were doing for the cloak, where people were getting millions and millions of health, doing millions of damage. So they were doing legion numbers of damage and healing, things like that, right? Well, Blizzard doesn't like that, so they banned people. They uh, they nerfed, you know, that the whole ordeal, and they cracked down on it. But where are their priorities lying? You know what I mean? Like, why can't they focus the same energy on balancing the game properly, right? And focusing on the game itself, like actually producing content for the game. Whereas Dragonflight was just regurgitated content 4 seasons in a row. It was actually terrible. Like it, and that's the same. That's the thing that they've been doing is for a very long time. For like the last 3 expansions, it's just been formulaic. I can recognize patterns when I see them. And it's not even like the last three. It's been so if you count Dragonflight currently, right? Dragonflight, Shadowlands, Battle for Azeroth, and Legion. 4 expansions in a row. They were all the same. formularically, they are the same. And if you think I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Please. Tell me how they were at all actually any different. Because they've done the exact same process over and over since BFA. After Legion, they were just like, yo, we gotta use this formula that worked for Legion. We're gonna use it for every single one. Alright? Except we're gonna amp up the numbers, alright? And this time we're gonna make it so no raid tier is going to matter on the next tier onward, alright? Your gear sucks now, alright? You can catch up in gear. You can catch up in gear, alright? You just have to play the game. You just have to play the game. You just have to open your weekly vault. You just have to do Mythic Plus. Alright? You just have to do the things. And it just gets really annoying doing that over and over and over and over again every single expansion. Because it just feels like your gear just doesn't matter. And then, like, your time is on retail, it just doesn't feel like it's well spent. Because currently, at least in Dragonflight, the story sucks. It fucking sucks, alright? It blows. The questing, leveling wise, it's good. Alright, they did good with side quests in the zones, I'll say that. World quests, great. But everything else, can't go with it, man. It's no bueno. I can't agree with the game's fundamentals currently. But Legion's was perfect, man. Like, Legion, I felt like I had something to go for all the time in Legion. Whether it be an artifact appearance, whether it be doing Mythic Pluses, whether it be transmog farming, or whether it be mount farming, or honestly, because I came back at the game during Legion, catching up my characters, man, shit. That was like hard enough, to be honest. There was a lot of levels back in Legion. If you guys don't remember, the level cap in Legion was 110. It's pretty high. It's a lot of levels to level back in the day, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I did what I had to do. I did what I must. And I'll fucking do it again. Like, exactly. I had, like, this one point I pointed out earlier, but I don't remember anything else that I really, like, really set out to me. Like, this whole video in general was just a very, very solid listen. I would just strongly recommend it to you guys. I'm not gonna watch the entire thing here, but, you know, what I am going to say is that video, in this video, both very, very solid pieces. I think they honestly correlate a lot with this topic of possibly WoW's storyline just falling off. Is because there's maybe not enough masculinity. What do you guys think? You guys think there just needs to be more masculinity in the writing, in the characters? They need more masculine characters? Do you think Anduin's not doing a good enough job being a character? He's kind of a bitch, dude. I'm not gonna lie. He's just you know, not being a king, and he's just expressing his feelings too much. It's not what kings do. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Has WoW downgraded for you guys? Has it upgraded? Has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Do you play it? Do you not play it?
Yeah, I'm the most underrated, beloved and I'm hated. I let them debate it while I take the crown. Do what I gotta do, that's how I'll make it. And I do not follow along with the crowd. Yeah, I get up on the